think I missed a couple people coming in. If I didn't say hello to you, I apologize. But thank you for joining us here this evening, and thank you really for being a part of this conference. I hope that very soon, maybe next year, it'll be a live conference. I love to hear the children. I really do. It's, as my own children have left the house here now, and I'm looking forward to little ones again. And not yet for me, anyways. So if you haven't seen the chat, it's getting a little bit longer. If you could, let me know what school you're coming from and what grade level you teach. And most of you are doing that, and so I appreciate that very much. I'm going to share my screen with you now, my PowerPoint.
Hey, Mickey, you're so fun. You're so fun. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey.
I just want to make sure I can see my
Blow my mind. Hey,
list
Mickey.
of joining us.
Mickey.
I think I can. I think Thomas just came in. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate you being here.
This is mine. You don't hear that left?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi there.
If you're just coming in, if you could in the chat there, put what school you teach at and your grade level, please. And it is time to get started. And so I will go ahead and get started here. I don't think it'll take the whole time, but I'll go through my presentation. And if you have questions, please let me know, and we'll get through those as best as we can as well. And so let me begin here. There we go. And so first of all, I don't know how many of you travel currently with your schools, or maybe you're just thinking about doing it. But one question would be, why do we do it? And of course, the biggest reason is getting to go to some of these places like the Lincoln Memorial, or the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall. Some of these places are simply amazing, and students really get a feel for what things were like, when they're visiting these places. It's just an amazing time. It's way, way different reading something in a textbook as compared to visiting that location and then hearing about it. And so some of those tour guides are just very, very good at explaining things to students and answering their questions and keeping them engaged. Let's see. Relationships would be another reason. That's a picture of me there in front of the White House. That happens to be a group of exchange students I took that year. But just getting to know your students outside of school, it's a whole different thing. Some teachers are sometimes afraid of behavior issues. And I will say on these trips, we're so busy doing things, they don't really have much time to get bored. Behavior issues is not really a problem. You will see if you've never done one of these trips before, I know there's a lot of walking, a lot of activity, and we keep them really busy. And so the behavior is not a big issue, but building relationships with them is just a fun time, a fun thing to do, getting to know these students better. Let's see, permissions. Let's see, you're gonna have to, if you're going to get a trip, you're gonna have to get permission from your administration, and we can help you with that. If you have never done a trip before, we will present it to the school board for you if you need to have such a thing done, and we can help you get that passed by your school board. They're gonna want to know some things about it. Why are you going? How much is it gonna cost? How are you gonna pay for it? Those kinds of things. And we can kind of help you through that. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Your destination. I'm sorry, Melissa, do you have a question? No.
No, I'm,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay, no problem. Where to go? A lot of middle schools and I guess high schools too go to Washington D.C., Pennsylvania, or Philadelphia, Gettysburg, 'cause that's a middle school curriculum. A lot of people go up to Boston, maybe over to Chicago. There's a lot of places to go. It depends on how much time you want to spend and what part of the curriculum you want to enhance. And so that is kind of a decision that you're going to have to make. The cost depends totally on how many people are going is a big factor. How many nights you want to be away and how far away the destination is. All those things add up. The two biggest costs in a trip is going to be the bus cost and the hotel stays. Other things are just minor expenses, really. And so those are the two biggest factors. Choosing a tour company, there's several tour companies around. We are located right here in Michigan, kind of by, I don't know if you know, between Grand Rapids and Lansing is where we are, Saranac, Michigan. And so, we're a local company and we're trying to get some groups that currently might use a larger tour company. I don't want to name any names, but they oftentimes can be very, very expensive. And we do pretty much the same thing they do. And so we'll get through that here in just a little bit, okay? Make sure, of course, if you're using a smaller company, make sure they have insurance, make sure they're experienced, and make sure they provide some security. When we do hotel security, we have a company we use. They're professionals, owned by an ex-teacher actually, and they come in and they watch the hallways of the hotels at nighttime. And so the way it goes is we get to a hotel kind of late, and kids are all getting situated in their rooms. And of course, some of the parents will ask, "Hey, how are you going to watch these kids at night?" And we have security in the hotels. Basically, they do three things. One, they make sure nobody messes with their student rooms. Two, they make sure no students leave their room. And three, they make sure that those students are obeying the noise policy in the hotel, whatever time that might be. And so that's it's a good feeling to know that the students are being watched and you can get some rest. Some of the things we do, we're all online. We do hard copies too, because some people like those, but we're all available online. AmericanHistoryTours.com is the website. We do registration. Payment is all online unless they want to mail in payments, which sometimes they do. We run the parent meetings if you want us to. A lot of times, sometimes teachers want to do that themselves, but we go over to your school. We'll run the parent meeting for you. We do the communication as a group. You will still get emails from different parents, but for the most part, they contact us and we answer their questions for them, especially if it has something to do with payments and itineraries, stuff like that. We do all the planning for you. And probably the biggest thing we do is the fundraising. We use, actually, we own the fundraising company as well. But when we do fundraisers, we give you the papers to pass out, but we collect them, and you don't have to worry about any tallying or counting money, anything like that. You just give us the envelope, and we take it to our office, and we will do all the tallying, and then we will credit those students who did the sales, will immediately credit their account. And so if somebody raises $100 from a fundraiser, we'll put it right in their account, and they'll get an email notification, and you won't even have to worry about that. We know that is a time-consuming thing for the teacher, and we take that away. If you have your fundraiser that you want to do, you certainly may do so, but otherwise we'll handle the fundraising for you. We have a lot of students who raise most of the money for their trips through our fundraisers, and they're good quality fundraisers. They can make a good amount of money on them. The biggest factor will be cost, and so that fundraising is an important aspect of it. No, I have not done any Detroit public schools. Who was that? Ann. But I'd be very happy to. Yep, I'd be very happy to do something with you guys. If you're gonna just get started, or if you are thinking, or if you're using somebody else currently, get a quote. And just because the cost involved can be very different between tour companies. Some are very, very high. Our school here, who actually uses our company, um, they want me to get quotes every once in a while from other companies, and so I do so. And this last one I got was literally almost twice as much. And so it's just a huge amount, a huge difference it could be. Yeah, thank you, Thomas. You are right. Somebody asked if groups are too small. If we can't get a bus load, if we can't get a bus
Hey,
Want paper or
load, we
plastic?
doesn't
can,
matter.
we can sometimes put groups together. And we've done that for small schools before. Usually works pretty good. Otherwise, we can still go, but the cost might be higher simply because of the bus cost. Or we can fly there instead. Some groups fly because they have a small group, and that way they don't have to pay for that bus on the way there and back. Stipend, we do, we are a nonprofit. We're not nonprofit yet. We are applying for nonprofit status. We are still in that process. But our trip costs are nonprofit. And so, but part of that is we do pay the teacher. We know how much time it takes. I'm not sure Melissa, I think it's your microphone making noises. I'm not sure. So we know it takes some time on your part. We do a lot of things to limit how much time it takes on your hands. And so we pay you a stipend, for example, for doing a fundraiser. We'll give you money because we know you're going to spend at least a couple of hours after school someday passing out products. And so we give you money for doing fundraisers, and we give you money for doing the trip itself. Now that how much money will depend on what you want to do, but some teachers get up to $50 per person who goes, and that type of thing is negotiable. And it depends on how big your group is, and so we don't take advantage of teacher generosity because we know that a lot of teachers do these trips for free, and or they don't get paid by the tour company. And I just think that tour company is taking advantage of that teacher. Okay, I think they should be paid. It's typically outside of their time frame for teaching, and I know they want their kids to go, but you definitely earn that money for going on these trips. Even though we're hoping that you have a fun time as well, we know that it's also work. Yeah, you will get emails and phone calls from parents, and so we want to pay you for that. A little bit about cost. So how we do it, how we do this nonprofit aspect of it. The way we do is we talk to the teachers and we put an itinerary together. And we will also estimate how many people are going to go so we can narrow that cost down. So we look at the itinerary, we figure out what each item is going to cost. from the meals, from the tips, the bus cost, the hotel cost, how many people are going to be in a room, that cost would change based on that. If we're going to go to a place like Hershey Park, we put that in there. We add up every single thing we do. And then we also have to pay for tour guides. We have to pay for the chaperone company watching the kids overnight. We gotta, everything gets listed. And then I'll share that with you, and that'll be the cost for the student. Okay, and so you'll see that, and you maybe think, hey, maybe that's too much money. And so maybe we subtract a day, maybe we do this instead of doing that. We can adjust things to make it fit for your particular group of students. If you are already doing a trip and the cost is, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number, the cost is $1,200, and we add up our costs and it's only 950, maybe we don't have to make any adjustments, we can just go with it. Okay, but whatever the cost is, that's what we charge. Some of these things on the bottom are the very reason I started the tour company. I was leading our schools groups to different places, typically Washington, D.C. And the company we were using would charge late fees. They would charge even a fee for making a payment. I forgot what they called it. Transaction fee. They called it a transaction fee. And cancellation fees. They did all these things. And finally, one year, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pay attention to what goes on behind the scenes, and I'm going to open up my own company, and that's what I did. And so we don't do any of these things: registration fees, late fees, payment fees, and we offer 100% money back as far into the trip as possible. Usually around 30 days prior is where our cutoff is, because at that point we have to start paying our bills. Okay, so your time and consideration. So it really depends on where you want to go, what you want to do, but we can put together a fabulous trip for you, and at a very reasonable cost. I'll throw out a couple of examples. I've got a group that I'm doing this year who's going to New York this summer, and they are spending, let's see, they're there from June 30 to July 3. They're way late in June. Smaller group, but they're going, and their cost is, I think, $11.49, maybe it's $12.49, and that's flying. They wanted to fly, and so we're doing that for them. We're going to, well, if Broadway's opened up by the time we go, we're hoping that it's going to be. And that includes a Broadway play and all kinds of things. We have a different group here in Saranac, our group. They're going to Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia for 6 days, and that trip is $979. Okay, and that includes a stipend, includes all of those kinds of things. And so we think that we are very competitively priced. I don't think you'll find anybody who does it cheaper than we do. I don't know how they could, to be quite honest with you, but I suppose it's possible. And so we want to really blow up next year and get a lot of schools involved. This is our first year doing our trips at cost. And so all of our prices are lower, and we think we can do it. We've got outside sources that we get income from, and the more schools we can get, the better that'll be for us. So we're really hoping to add on a bunch of schools for next year. Does anybody have any questions that I could answer? Otherwise, I can talk about our website and stuff too.
I got a
I
question.
have,
Have you ever gone to Mackinac Island?
Yes, we take an elementary school here in Lower Mid-Michigan to Mackinac Island, and we do an overnight trip with them, and we do the Jack Pine Lumber Show, the oh, I forgot a couple of those that camp, there's a wooden camp up there we do, and we do that at cost, and it's a fabulous trip. It doesn't have to be overnight, depends on where your school is from, but it's low cost. That's a low cost trip. Can this happen in the summers? Yes. In fact, most of our trips happen in the summers. Typically from May until the end of August, we have school groups go.
Do you
Um,
do, oh, I'm sorry. I have a question now. I
Go
apologize.
ahead.
Do
Go
you
ahead with
do
your
like a historic Detroit one?
You know, we don't. We certainly can put one together though. I'd love to talk to you about doing something like that because we've been wanting to add that to our trip features.
Yeah, I was just thinking from an overnight into Detroit would be interesting for my students are in Jackson County. So it wouldn't be
Okay.
that far. Okay, I will definitely be contacting you.
Okay. Thank you. Somebody asked a question. Let me see if I can find it. Doug, what kind of fundraisers? The fundraisers that we do, let me just throw them out there. We do a gourmet popcorn sale. That one works pretty good. The students make a high percentage on that. We do a sub sale. It seems like the food ones work pretty good. Our subs are absolutely fabulous. They're foot longs and they're loaded, and so people really like them. We do probably our biggest profit item is our geranium hanging basket sale. We do that one for Mother's Day, and we literally order like 10,000 hanging baskets, and they sell like mad, and people love them, and they're a good source of income. And we do a Christmas wreath and Christmas candy sale that works out really well as well. And so those are our main ones, but we can come up with others too if need be. Anybody else? Let's
I
talk
got one
about.
more.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Um, how long do you think it should be required to plan the trip and include the fundraisers? I suppose it depends on where you're going, but
Yep.
ideally, how far ahead do people plan usually?
People generally plan over a year ahead. Like if you're gonna do one next summer, then we as a tour company, it is beneficial, not a necessity, but beneficial to know by the time school's out. And the reason is a lot of the hotels get filled up. And so if we're trying to book hotels in October, we'll find them, but the good ones will be already booked up. And so over a year is nice. However, I've done trips with a 6 month notice before without a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, generally a school year is pretty good. Kick it off in September and do one in May or June.
Len, I have a quick question.
Yes, Cassie.
Sorry, I'm the lady with all of the kids. So I'm from DPSCD, and I know that with the pandemic, we had a lot of chaos with stuff being canceled and with restrictions. So if
Yep.
we're looking at a district that has restrictions and we don't know if they're going to be lifted or not, when would you want us to talk with you specifically? Because we don't necessarily know what school year will effectively be able to start trips like this again.
Yes. So if, right now we're sort of planning for 2022. We do have tours going out this summer and we're planning on doing them. Um, finding, finding some things to do has been a bit of a challenge, but there are currently enough places open that we can fill up our day without too many problems. But for next year, we are really anticipating things to be opened up. And so that's what we're kind of hoping for. Our policy right now with COVID is if somebody wants to cancel because it's too iffy, we give them all their money back, and that's up until 30 days prior. After 30 days prior, they can still get their money back if they can't go because of COVID related issues, or if they can't go because the school doesn't want them to go, they'll get all their money back then. All I would need is a letter from the superintendent. because some of the places that we have reservations at won't cancel for free unless it is a demand from a superintendent. And so we are very, very lenient, and so are most of our partners, our restaurants and our bus companies. They're all very, very lenient at this time with giving money back. And so I don't know if that answers your question or not. I think I did. Did I answer your question there, Cassie?
Somewhat. I guess my thing is, DPSCD will not let us even consider scheduling anything
I see.
because of COVID. So I guess that's my main question is how to work with you to start working on planning something, even though we don't know when DPSCD will lift that restriction.
Yeah, I see. So we could get something like in the books, and we just won't introduce it to the students until we know that we can. There's no harm in getting something ready. Does that help?
Yes, it does.
Okay, okay. Somebody asked a question, Thomas. Yes, we do take groups to Williamsburg. I love Williamsburg. It's amazing. That whole area, Jamestown, Williamsburg area is amazing, especially for student groups. I had not been to a Civil War reenactment with a student group yet. I've been to one myself in Gettysburg, but the timing hasn't never fit. And so I would love to take a student group to one of those one day. Let's see. Anybody else? Any particular questions about locations or maybe cost estimates? I could probably give you a cost estimate even right here on Zoom if you're interested. Otherwise, Thomas, I'm not sure exactly what that last thing you typed out means. If you have any other questions, I could be happy to answer them. Otherwise, if you want to get something started, send me an email and we will be in contact with each other that way. My website, let me type it in here. It's actually, I've got my recommendation letters from some teachers that I've been using for a while in my list of documents. I don't know if you guys have access to those or not. I know I submitted them. I'm not sure where they're located on that website that we're using. But they're fabulous recommendations. My teachers are very, very happy with the way we run things. They especially love a couple things. One, they love our security team in the hotels. They love that. They get a report every morning from them. It's very, very professionally done. They love the fundraisers because so much money is earned that way. And they love the online payments and registration and things like that. And they also like that they have access to the information. Like they can see the list of students who are signed up. They can see how much they've paid, things of that nature. I typically go on the trips with each of my groups. And so I look forward to meeting some of you and getting a trip put together. I would love to go with you and make sure it's a very, very smooth process. All you're responsible for on these trips is to be there for your kids. You guys will be the ones who set the roommates, for example. You will be the ones who, you or a chaperone will check and make sure they're all in the proper room and just have fun, be there for your kids, and we will do the rest. You don't have to worry about checking in or getting the hotel, none of that kind of thing. And so it's a very smooth process on our end. I think you'll be very, very happy. Anybody else? Oh, I was going to type in my website in case you didn't see it. AmericanHistoryTours.com. If you scroll down to the bottom of that website, you'll see some of the schools that currently do our tours. If you click on one of those schools, you can see their what they have planned, and so that's kind of a cool thing to see. Their prices are a little bit higher, not a whole lot higher. This will be the first year we are going to do things nonprofit, and so last year prices were a tad higher, but not much. We do this mainly to get students out there. One of my goals is to hopefully someday one of my students on one of my tours will be in Washington D.C. Working there one day, partially because of that tour they went on, 8th grade or 9th grade year. That's really one of my goals. I had a student who wanted to be president. He joined the Navy because he wanted to be president, and then he became a airplane mechanic and loved it. And so he's not going to be our president. But anyways, anybody else have any questions? I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, that's all I have for this evening. I hope that we can be in contact with each other and we can get an amazing tour put together. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Enjoy the conference. Hope to see you possibly in another session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Melissa, as well. Melissa, do you have any other questions?
No, I appreciate I appreciate you taking the time. I would love to, once theater opens back up, do a trip down to Detroit, maybe the Gem Theater or one of the historic theaters. I'm an English and a social studies teacher.
Okay.
My students are at risk, and
Yep.
I just have to figure out the fundraising. That's the hardest part for us, just because
Yeah.
my students are income challenged.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Well,
but that's why I was thinking.
yeah, we
Go ahead.
do a quite bit of, with the lower income students. I don't know if this is absolutely true or not, but this is what I believe. The food fundraisers seem to do pretty well. And so I think that they would be able to, make a decent amount of money off doing some of those. And a trip to Detroit, it won't be that much money, I don't think. If you want to spend a hotel
Well,
night or
and I was thinking, most of my students, right? Most of my students never get a chance to go out, and they never get a chance to go anywhere. They never get a chance to go on family vacations. They never get a chance.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
thinking, if we could find a way to do something like this,
how many students do you
we're a
have?
small school.
Uh-huh.
Well, we're both online, but we were online before online was cool.
Oh, I
But
see.
we
I
have
see.
in person. We have in person and online program.
Okay.
Our in person, we have like 50 students.
Okay.
And probably out of that, there are like 30 that are really active.
Yeah.
There'd be at least 10 to 15 that would not even consider it. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I keep thinking that if we could come up with something that would be, I just know they don't, when my kids just don't ever go anywhere.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are the kids that when they were in the regular ed and they didn't get a chance to go to Mackinac with the school. They didn't get a chance to go to Washington, D.C. with the school. They
Yeah.
don't.
Right.
So, I mean, if I want to talk to you and kind of figure out what we could do, and I could fit it in, and then we could maybe go to the local Kiwanis and maybe get some sponsors. I mean, our area is a very wealthy area.
Uh-huh.
So, we might be able to get sponsors and things like that, in addition to selling stuff.
Yeah. That's
So I
certainly,
mean, and I know, we have additional challenges just because they don't know how to, and this sounds bad, but most of them don't know how to go to these places.
yes.
But,
I
if you went to the theater, if there was a play at the gym, or if, some of those type, a meal, you could go at the off time to a nicer restaurant and maybe put a higher end meal that they've never experienced that in
Right.
downtown Detroit. The African American History Museum, the GIA, any of those things even are just so phenomenal. But they, I mean, Jackson and even some of them, Brooklyn is their only experience in life.
Right. Right. When we take one of our groups to Mackinac, they always have lunch at the, oh,
Right.
shoot, what's the name of the mansion up there?
The Grand Hotel. The Grand
And,
Hotel.
the Grand Hotel, and just walking through that lobby, they have never seen something like that
Oh, yeah.
before. And it's just amazing.
Right.
I love
Well,
it.
I went
love
both times with my kids, and
Uh-huh.
our family travels. I mean, I grew up, we travel. So
Right.
for me, my kids, my son plays hockey, so we don't travel as much. I mean, we travel, but not the way typical families travel.
Right. Yeah.
Seeing ice rinks is not always
Yeah.
but I just keep thinking that there's got to be a way to get these kids to be able to, have. There's so many amazing restaurants down there.
Yeah.
I have some connections down there, and even the Carhartt is down there. One of my friends is the lead designer down there.
Oh, wow.
There's so many things that we could fit in, and even if on the way home you stopped at the Henry Ford Museum
Yeah.
for the history
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, it, it, for them, it would be a trip out of their realm,
Yep. Yep.
and I just think that would be so good for them. So I
Yeah.
mean, I was really looking forward to this, and I apologize. Mom life. Earlier
Oh, I
today, while I was watching my son train, I was watching my son train. He goes to the trainer, so I'm like, after school, I go, I get him, I'm driving, I'm interacting, and I'm having him type my answers.
oh, yeah.
So
Well, think about like you thinking about like a one or like an overnight trip. You're thinking about a day trip.
yeah, I was thinking an overnight trip, but just because
The experience.
there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do down there, and it would be, so many. My kids think of Detroit and they think gangs. They don't
Yeah.
realize what a amazing,
Yeah. That's
um,
true.
the just the sheer enormity of Detroit and how beautiful it is. I mean, my
It,
parents grew up in my dad grew up in Hamtramck. We spent a lot of time down there. I
yeah.
taught for 1 year down in Detroit, and I just love it. And I
Yeah.
think that would be a good trip that they could maybe do. I mean, I'd be brave to take them, but
We could. What do you
it would be, uh,
It'd be it'd be amazing. What do you felt? We always try to on our trips, our hotel night trips, we always try to do a nighttime entertainment of some sort. Whether it's to go see a play or something, or if that can't happen, maybe a ball game of some sort. And
Mhm.
so, we could, do something
We could do
all day.
hockey.
Yeah, I'd love to do hockey. Do something all day long, have fun at night,
Yeah,
and then do something else in the morning, and then head back.
yeah,
So I think,
yeah, and
yeah,
we're close enough that
yeah, the bus
it,
wouldn't be a
it,
big deal.
we might be able to get it. No, well, and that's the bus. I mean, that would be. I think it's a short enough trip that the bus wouldn't be as bad. The
Right.
cost, I think we could keep it decent. I'd
Yeah.
like them to be able to have. We might be able to. I have a good friend of mine who has a bunch of contacts down there. So it's like if we're doing something, I might be able to work with you and maybe
Yeah.
find you a few new partners.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, especially if they're willing to work with my kids. I mean, if I'm coming in with a group of 30 to 40 versus 200,
Right.
there are a lot of places that can handle that
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's not
that
too
you
big.
normally might not be able to take a group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, 60/40
I
is a
mean, we're
decent,
looking at a bus.
right. Yeah. Yeah, one bus would be good. So when are you thinking
And they'd
about
only
maybe?
have one bay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe, because obviously, I mean, maybe I'm hoping the problem is of course, like the gem and all that there, I'd love to see a year from now,
Hmm.
maybe not or like March
Yeah.
of 2022
Yeah.
would be, I mean, that would be, because that way, um, and we could even take some of like our students that are there now that are maybe graduating.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
might even be able to get that just, I mean, we're small enough that it wouldn't be,
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
Yeah. I had a
and
group this year.
I,
Had a group. Had a group of seniors go this year. I mean, they were scheduled to go last year. It got postponed to this year, and they invited their seniors back, and
right.
some of them still wanted to go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because it's hilarious that I'm looking at scheduling this because the Washington D.C. trip that they take with the junior high school, I I fly when I go somewhere. I am not a bus person. We had to go to Buffalo on the bus with the hockey team, but we had a
Uh-huh.
mom's trip.
Oh.
It, I, oof, 13-year-old boys on a bus.
Yep. Yep. I get it.
So,
One of
I
my
mean,
groups,
you get
they're
it.
just they're crazy. This group I have, they are adamant about boys on one bus, girls on the other bus. And the boys' bus is just insane, and the girls' bus is
Yeah.
awesome. Teachers are like, "Can I be on the girls' bus? Can I be on
Yeah.
the?" But that's the way they still do it. So I can't get them to change their mind. They're the only
Well,
group that.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So your junior high goes to DC.
Middle
Oh.
of nowhere. I apologize. I live in the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
Um, well, I appreciate. I'm here. I just
Okay.
my internet is horrible. I
Okay. No
live in the
problem.
middle
I
of
still
nowhere.
hear you.
Hopefully Starnet gets up. Hopefully Starnet link gets up soon. I'm on the. I just got my notification. It should be coming in 2 months or so. So
Oh. Okay.
I'm hoping I end up with my Starlink.
Oh, that'd be
So
nice. So, what area you're from? I used to live in Jackson. Not live. I used to live in Leslie, but I worked in Jackson. What area? What area is the school in?
okay, I'm in
Is it,
Brooklyn,
okay, so
down
south.
by the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's called. Is it called
Yep.
Columbia?
And we're the option school. We're over by Columbia. Yep, we're Columbia options. So we're actually in Clark Lake.
Oh, okay,
So we're the alternative ed high school.
okay. Very
So,
nice. Yeah.
and
So
I'm
you,
my email, if you want to shoot me one, is
okay,
melissa.adams@myeagles.org. And it's MY Eagles.
okay. At myeagles.org.
Yep,
Melissa.adams@myeagles.org. Okay, yeah, I'll send you one in just a
yep.
minute. And that way, we can keep in touch.
That way I can communicate with you. And
Yeah,
I'd love to see what we can do. And, I'd have to talk to some of our people and see if I could get some donations to kind of get it going. I think the Kiwanis would be very supportive of this.
uh-huh,
And we might be able to get some other groups to kind of help. And I might be able to talk to some of the business owners I know down there, or at least people that know people.
uh-huh.
And then, maybe we can get some deals,
Yeah,
extra deals. So,
yeah, that's nice.
I mean, people like, we're a 99% at-risk school.
Yep,
So, we're basically Title One but because of our district, we're not considered we're Title One school inside a pretty well-to-do district.
right, okay. What was I just gonna ask? Okay, so I'll send you an email, but on there I'll ask,
All right.
what type of things you might want to do, so I can put together some type of a cost analysis to give you an idea.
Oh,
That sounds
I'm
good?
still here.
Did you hear what I said?
There you go. I can hear you now.
Okay,
I
I just
heard
said,
what type of,
oh, so I'll ask you what type of things you'd like to do, and
okay,
then I'll find costs for those, and then
okay,
I'll put together something so we can get a
yep.
starting point. And
Yeah,
then we
because
can talk
that would be good, because then I can talk to people and see. I just want a grant. I write grants too. So I got teacher of the year last year. So I had $500, and that might be able to write a grant to help with that too.
uh-huh. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Grant,
So we might be able to.
some teachers, yourself included, I guess, are very good at getting money that way. And other teachers never touch grant
I've just
possibilities.
started.
Uh-huh.
I've just started, but I'm investigating, and I'm starting to write them, in the middle of everything. Of course, I'm working on my master's and adding an endorsement and, doing all these other things. But, hey, we have time.
Yeah.
Life, who needs life? When I'm sitting there waiting for hockey practice, the rink has Wi-Fi. I just connect onto their Wi-Fi, and
Yeah. It'd be awesome to take the group to a Detroit Red Wings game.
it would
You
be.
know,
And especially if we can talk to them and maybe get them a special guest status, especially if you're going in one of the times that isn't as
Yep,
well attended. Yep.
yep, a weekday game of some sort.
Yep. Yep.
That don't sell out, especially now that they're
Yep.
not doing so well. I don't think
Right.
they're selling
Right.
anything.
Bite your tongue.
I know. I hope it gets better. All my Detroit
I
teams.
said, you know what? They're going to need to move the Lions. They're rubbing off on everybody.
Yeah, I hope the Lions get better. I'm a huge Lions fan. And I'm
Well, we just
one
keep laughing. We're like, we need to bring our U of M quarterbacks back.
yeah,
Bring that
that's
Super
it.
Bowl ring, bring our
Yeah,
Super Bowl ring here to Detroit.
yeah. How much money would it take?
That's
Probably
how
not that.
that's how we know. We'd know if he was the greatest of all time then, right?
Yeah, that is for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And I'll send you an email here in just a minute, so look for
That's
that.
great.
It might go in your trash or something simply because of, I'm a company. I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
it's all right. Mine, I have really strange, I've adjusted mine. I usually don't lose much.
okay.
So,
All right.
and I have
Thank-
it right here. I'll make sure that I put you on my okay to take it one.
Okay. Very good.
So
All
I
right, thank you.
appreciate it. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.